I've been living in Argentina for nearly 5 months and I'm telling you, I'm never gonna be the same. I'm Canadian, I grew up in Canada, went to school in Canada, worked in Canada, but in 2024 I decided to change things up, to move somewhere else to see how people around the world live. So I embarked on a journey to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I've gathered enough experience to list out a few points in this video. So if you're a foreigner wondering if Argentina is the right place for you, o si sos un argentino que quieres saber que me gusta de Argentina, que no me gusta de Argentina, este video es para vos. So point number one, guys, is the culture and the people. I can make an entire video on only this, because once you experience the people and the culture here, there is no going back. With the people here in Buenos Aires, there's a sense of pride that they have for their country. While the rest of the developed world, like Europe, like North America, are having culture clashes between the different cultures in their vicinity, being in Argentina is a breath of fresh air, because there is unity. Everybody here feels Argentino. Everybody here is so proud that they're Argentino, to the point where if they see you, a foreigner, enjoying their country, having a good time in their country, they're happy and they tell you. Here, they're incredibly social, they make you feel welcome, and they are genuinely happy that you are here enjoying their country, and it just gives you a good vibe overall. Now, looking at the culture of Argentina, of course, the culture of Argentina is incredibly deep, but I think the main overall point is that they need very little to be happy. It's an incredible sensation that honestly the rest of the world should learn from. Whether you go and you have a mate in the park, whether you're drinking a fernet at night with your friends, or you come home from work and you have an asado with your family, the people here have learned to be laid back, they've learned to be stress-free, they've learned to not need very much to enjoy their life and have a good time. Alright, moving on to the pro number 2 here of Argentina is the weather. Now, if you've lived in a northern country, this is a no-brainer. The winters here are not bad and the summers are hot. This being said, there's no icy roads, there's no winter boots, there's no freezing temperatures. It does get cold, but as a Canadian who's lived in Canadian winters, the cold here is just not something to complain about. The summers do get hot, they get very hot, so if you are somebody who is not comfortable with very hot temperatures, this is something you should potentially worry about. But overall, the weather here, I have more positive things to say versus our northern countries where we spend half the year freezing to death in the dark. Point number 3 here is partially cost of living, but not entire cost of living. Specifically, I'm talking about real estate, renting, and healthy food. Now, obviously, if you intend to come here and live in Buenos Aires, you're gonna need a place to stay. And comparable to other parts of the world, it is very cheap to stay somewhere. Whether you are deciding to buy a property or rent, you're going to notice a very nice difference compared to Canada, United States, Europe. Depending on the neighborhood, you can find apartments for 150 to 250,000 US dollars, or you can find rent anywhere around 600 US dollars a month. Like if I compare that to if I wanted to rent this same type of apartment in Toronto, it would cost me 2,000-ish US dollars a month. Here, I'm paying far less than half the price for my monthly rent. Now, obviously for the locals, they have lower wages, it's more difficult for them to rent, but if you have been fortunate enough to come from a country with higher wages, you're gonna find that renting here is a breath of fresh air. And when it comes to healthy foods, I am somebody who very much enjoys beef and fruit, and I'm somebody who believes that these are healthy foods. For those of you who don't know, Argentina is known for its beef. Beef is one of its biggest exports, so of course, getting beef here is quite easy. Here, for example, I'll eat steak every day or ground beef every day, and each steak I buy and I cook myself is $3 or $4 US. Or if I want to buy some ground beef, I'm paying $5 or $6 for a kilo. I am also a vast fruit enjoyer, and the fruit here is very ripe, it's very high quality. I believe it is very low in preservatives, and getting your hands on ripe, tasty fruit is not a challenge whatsoever. The next pro I want to talk about here is proximity and maneuverability of the city. Buenos Aires is absolutely massive, both in population and in size, but nothing feels far. Everything you need is typically within walking distance. I walk to my gym, I walk to my grocery store, I can walk to any of the parks nearby. And if something is farther away, if you need to enter a specific neighborhood to get to where you're going, there is a huge amount of buses. There's like there's like more than 100 bus lines that can often take you directly to the point you want to be without any transfer in between. There's also a vast subway system within the city that can get you somewhere even faster. And if you need to travel outside of the city, there is a variety of train lines that'll get you there. If you're a foreigner, odds are you're coming here without a car, but that has proven not to be an issue whatsoever. Everything I need is close by, and if it's not, It's just a quick bus ride away. I also wanted to list off a couple of points without much explanation, but something worth mentioning. Argentina specifically has a very wide variety of landscapes, going from tropical all the way down to icy mountains. If your country does not have environments like this, it's a bit of a bonus. There's also a low barrier to get your citizenship here. To get your citizenship, you just need to stay in Argentina for 2 years and then you can apply. Or if you have an Argentine parent like I do, that makes it even easier. Guys, I made a video on Argentine citizenship by descent. Go check it out. And also I have to mention, beautiful girls are everywhere, so that's a bonus. Now, of course, the second part of this video is going to be about the cons of living here in Argentina. These are some things that you just want to take into consideration, not necessarily massive deal breakers, but things that are worth mentioning. I know in one of my first points, I did mention price, but over the last year, prices have gone up quite significantly in Argentina. As the current government is attempting to fix the history of disastrous economy, things are going up in price. Restaurants and cafes have reached the level of European or North American prices. $4 or $5 for a cup of coffee. Even buying fast food is comparable to buying fast food up in Canada as well. The locals are being hit very hard by these changes because of their stagnant and low wages, but it also has been common talk amongst foreigners that things are not as cheap as they anticipated it to be. Another point worth mentioning here is if you are living in Argentina for more than half of a year, Argentina wants you to pay tax on worldwide income. Now, your country may have a tax treaty with Argentina that might ease this up, but in terms of tax, Argentina does have a little bit higher tax than average, and odds are you're going to be at the top bracket of income tax, and they also have wealth tax, which is something you should look into. Another point I want to mention is that there is a lot of poverty in Buenos Aires due to the history of economic not good. Walking around in certain neighborhoods, you see people living on the street, and that's never a good sight to see because you end up feeling bad for them. This causes a lot of beggars, so if you're walking around in the streets, you will be approached by people on the streets asking for your support, asking if you can give them anything to help them out. And of course, we all feel for them, but if you're trying to sit down, have a nice dinner with family, it does become a nuisance to be approached by multiple people throughout your time sitting down asking for a little bit of money. Now, I want to talk a little bit about safety. I want to say Argentina is safe. I've had no issues here, but you're gonna have to get used to just keeping your eye open and being extra aware. I know crime rates are going up in Europe and Canada and United States, so this may apply for everybody around the world. But coming from a suburban city in Canada, you have to learn to keep your eyes open, to know where you're going, not to know which parts of the town you shouldn't wander into by accident. You want to keep an eye on your phone at all times. There's just a couple things that you're gonna have to get used to in terms of safety, to put yourself in the best situation. Now, again, this shouldn't be something that deters you from coming. It's just something I wanted to bring up, something that you should know about, that you're just gonna need an extra level of awareness versus if you live in a relatively safer country. And guys, those are the main points I wanted to bring up about pros and cons living here in Buenos Aires. Of course, there's a lot more talking points that I didn't mention, like food, like social life, like nightlife, but I'll leave it to you guys in the comments to bring up some of those points that I did miss. In conclusion, guys, I absolutely love it here, and I am 100% sure that Argentina is gonna be a massive part of my future. So guys, if you're looking to come here, I have uploaded a couple more videos. For example, if you're looking to get citizenship, a video is going to pop up on my screen now that's going to talk a little bit about that. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.